Yeah, he's moving again slowly. Can you hear us, William? Oh, we're live.
Yeah, we are. I just noticed that.
I did too. Yeah, the music did play. Um, hey, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Eric can pull this off today.
Yeah, we'll figure her out, brother. Scott, thank you for joining us this morning. It's good to see you. Michelle, Soundwave, how's everybody doing today in the chat? Uh, we're having some technical difficulties, but we'll work through it. We tried to manage the best we can. So we got a special guest today. We got Scott, Owlett, and we're going to talk Bigfoot. So um, let's kind of get in there and see what we got going on. So, what's the one of the questions I have for you? How's that Bigfoot activity in your area?
It's actually we get quite a lot of Bigfoot reports in this area. I live on Lake Tawakoni, which is in eastern Texas. We're in the on the edge of the piney woods, they call it, and so we get a lot of Bigfoot reports around this area.
That's good. I know for like this area here, in my area, I've started getting Bigfoot activity all year round. Before my mother passed away, and then I brought the property off my pops. Um, we used to get them about mid to late fall to early to mid spring. And then ever since they left, of course, my pops was known. He heard noise, he'd take a pop shot, scare it off. I was never that one.
There we go. Yeah.
But since that happened, and I took over the property a few years back, we noticed. I've noticed that in my area, Bigfoot activity started going year round. Is that something like you're kind of seeing in your neck of the woods?
Oh yeah, we get reports all the time, pretty regularly. This one, yeah, around this area, there's different parts. I live on a big lake, so there's different parts of the lake get activity at different times of the year, but they don't move too far. And then we have a river that runs out. Our lake is is where the river, the Sabine River, comes out of, which runs all the way down into Louisiana. And there's a pretty popular Bigfoot along the Sabine River. They call it the Sabine thing around here. So it travels up and down the river between Louisiana. We're only maybe 100 miles to Shreveport. So we're all up, we're 70 miles from Falk, Arkansas. So we get a lot of reports around here.
Oh yeah. I just had a question and I forgot it. For me, I know I'm constantly I haven't been out in the woods in a while. I got a lot going on, so I haven't been able to get out there. But anytime I go out, I'm always taking pictures and videos of tree structures I found, footprints. Which in my neck of the woods, it's hard to get a really good visible footprint because the ground is so hard. How's that for you?
Not so much here. We get a lot of rain in our area, and we live, like I said, we're kind of close to Louisiana, so we got a lot of swamp area. So it stays pretty loose around the edges of the lake here. I find gator prints all the time. We got 400 gators live on our lake, so they're pretty. If I walk the edge of the lake a lot looking for footprints because it's got to drink water sometimes. So I haven't found any, but we've got a couple reports of some teenagers that the recent one a couple months ago is some teenagers were out. Maybe had some beer on the edge of the lake that they weren't supposed to have. So they were out partying one night and they heard something stomping in the woods around them. And so they ran off. They weren't too far from their home. They ran back to their house and their pa told them to go get all their stuff off the beach, and they came back with flashlights and they saw a Bigfoot going through their stuff on the edge of the lake. So they ran back home again and they didn't come back till the morning and all their stuff had been tore up. They had a little tent out there on the beach. They were going to spend the night and it was all tore up and had footprints everywhere. So
cool. Now I know for me, I always call mine my guest. And I've had a very peaceful and respectful relationship with mine in my woods. And I'll get that feeling sometimes I need to stay out of the woods. And generally, I adhere to that feeling unless I absolutely have to go and do something, which I'm usually taking, my 7 mag with me if I got to go out there when I get that feeling. But they never mess with me. It's like they know that I'm going to go out there, get my stuff done, and then come back. What's their demeanor, have you noticed in your area?
Around here, a lot of people, of course, I haven't seen or encountered one here myself. I mean, I've had encounters, but they were up in the Pacific Northwest. But around here, they seem to be kind of brazen, actually. They do a lot of, stealing fish off and creels from people and whatnot around here, but they're not, I wouldn't say aggressive, but they're not shy, if you know what I mean. They're not afraid to, take whatever they want and just walk off with it. So, but I never heard anyone getting hurt. Hey, he's moving and everything.
Yeah.
I'm moving. I'm on my cell phone, so my computer basically shit the bed, guys. So
Okay.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm using my data on my phone right now.
All right.
So at least I'll be able to interact with you guys, okay? But Eric, you're going to have to run things, brother.
Not a problem, brother. It's good to actually be able to hear you now instead of you breaking up. So, that's always a plus because this is your baby, man. So it's good to hear from my good brother.
This is going to be your baby after a while.
So that's a very common scene. I've noticed throughout the reports that I've taken, of course I've traveled this world. Being a Marine, getting hurt, transferring to the Army. I've traveled this world, and a common denominator that I've not only heard, read about, or witnessed myself. Something about the northern regions of the area where food is scarce is where they're the most aggressive, versus a southern part that's very got a lot of food, plentiful food. Is that something you've experienced as well?
Oh, absolutely. I by the way, thank you for your service. I was in the Army for a very long time myself. Yeah, I was in the infantry, airborne. Okay. But
was you a choking chicken?
No, I was not. 82nd.
Well, thank you for your services too, my brother. I mean, if it wasn't for you, I couldn't serve. So I greatly appreciate that you allowed me to be able to serve my country as well.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, after I got out of the military, I went to college and got a degree and used my GI Bill, and went to college and got a degree in anthropology and started working with Native American tribes my whole career. And what's interesting to me is in the northern tribes that I've spent time with and talked to, the names for Bigfoot, that's what you need to look at. The tribal names for Bigfoot, the ones up in the Pacific Northwest and, Michigan and, upper Maine, like the Passamaquoddy tribe. I've been talked with them, and all their names for Bigfoot is like benevolent brother, friend, spirit being, hairy man, but you get down south, the names for Bigfoot from the tribes are like Wendigo, monster, killer, beast, stuff like that. And I think that goes along with the scarcity of food. They got more food up in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, there's berries growing all the time up there, and there's all sorts of places they can get, deer and fish and all that stuff. But down south here, there's not a lot of berries growing all the time. It's a whole different environment. I mean, we got a lot of deer down here. Well, at least where I'm at in Texas, there's just deer all over the place. Or I don't know if they eat armadillos. They probably should. There's thousands of them around here, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I got a good recipe for armadillo if anybody wants.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, because in my neck of woods, I'm in Southwest Missouri.
Okay.
So I live in the Ozark Mountains. And so, I mean, we got armadillo, we got coons, we got possums, we got squirrels, we got rabbits, we got turkey. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Healthy deer population, we got elk population, bear. I mean, it keeps going. So there's like a ton of food sources. And like for me, I think it was this spring or early summer, by my rifle stand, I actually found where deer leg bones have been twisted off. And you can literally see still chunks of hair and the redness from the blood. So it was pretty recent. And then later on that day, I found some older versions of that by my truck. After I'd just been out there, and then 2 minutes later, I come out and I find this stuff next to my truck. But I've had them leave gifts on my porch. I've had them leave stuff outside my back window. I've had them tapping on my window. Usually they make sounds too. Like before Mom passed away, and I bought the property off of Pops. They would come. They knew when I went to work. So when I go out to my truck in the morning to go to work, I'd hear a whoop whoop. And that was usually them saying, "Hey, we're in this neck of woods." And I'd be like, "Hey guys, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to work. I'll talk to you later." And I always greeted them in that manner. Now, does that lead to me having the positive reactions that I have on my property? Possibly. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I strongly believe because a lot of tribes call them Shiai Tonka, Elder Big Brother. First beings. The natives used to go to powwow with them, rendezvous, with them. They used to trade, they used to war, they used to learn from each other. So that makes sense that they might understand me. And one night I actually caught them on my property speaking Lakota, and William and I thought it was Chickasaw at first, but upon hearing it more, it sounds like the males were speaking Cherokee. So to me, that makes sense that they can understand us when we talk to them. Is that kind of what's your feelings on that?
Oh, I like all the tribes I've talked to that have had relationships with them. Some of them still do. Absolutely. I know one of the tribes I've spent most of the time with was the Umatilla tribe, which is up in the Pacific Northwest, kind of around the they're part of the Shoshone Nation, but they're they have a lot of interactions with Bigfoot, and also with the Yakima Indian, which is the same area, and the Nez Perce. That's all three of those tribes are in the same area. My great grandmother was full-blooded Nez Perce, but they've trade with them. They trade medicine with them. That's another thing that they do. Some of the tribal medicine people will pick whatever's growing at the time, and they'll take it out and put them out on rocks in the woods, and then they'll come back later and they'll see stuff that was picked off the rock and stuff left on the rock. So that's the medicine that you can use now. you know and some of the elders have said, our medicine people have forgot more about medicine, or I meant Bigfoot has forgot more about medicine than the native tribes know, and that's what they, they do a lot of trading with them that way. And they still, when they go fishing or harvest crops, they'll take some out and put them in baskets out in the woods and leave them for them.
Yeah. I know, like here on my property, they love to strip cedar bark, which cedar bark has a lot of medicinal purposes to it, anti-inflammatory, digestive health. List goes on. There's several different things that cedar bark is very good for. Now, I get excited if I find them 6 to 7 foot tall, because that takes porcupine and deer out of the equation. Because porcupine and deer will do that as well. Most of your critters in the woods will do that. But I've noticed that they do that around here. And so, I mean, I can see what you're saying on that, because it's, I've seen evidence, firsthand myself. And I get really excited when I see the footprints in that area too, because that pretty much tells me, hey, Riley, that pretty much tells me right there that it was definitely, these guys. Corey's got a question. Have they ever tossed animals at you in the dark to see how you react?
No, I haven't had that happen. But there is something that you mentioned earlier. There was one time we were hiking. We were in Montana, and we were up in the Bitterroot Mountains, and we had hiked up to this trail that went up to the top of the mountain and then back down. And on the way up, everything was hunky-dory, just fine. On the way back down, there was the hind quarter of a deer that had been ripped off. There wasn't a blade mark on it, laying in the middle of the trail on the way back down. It's like a gift for you. Here, take this as you go, So it's kind of interesting you saying that. I've heard, so that's the second time I've heard somebody, something happened with a deer leg, being left for you.
Yeah. See, like one year, I wasn't able to. So I don't do food offerings with them. I'm strongly against that. The only time I've ever done that was when I was in that docu-series Byways of Bigfoot, and I let him for the first time leave a jar of peanut butter out for him, which when I took the trail cams off of it is when they started interacting with all that stuff. And I found the peanut butter jar the lid had been taken off, not ripped off it or clawed off it, literally was just taken off. It was sitting in one area. The jar was spick and span clean, sitting in another area, and I never did find that aluminum top that came off it, but they was able to peel that aluminum seal off, leaving nothing to very little left behind. But generally, like when I hunt, and I'm very successful when I hunt, I have a certain location that what I don't use, I take it to that area, and it usually don't last more than a day in that area. Right. So one year, a couple years ago, when I wasn't feeling good, I couldn't get out in the woods and go hunting. I'd walked outside to my woodshed, and the window by the stove, I had my youngest daughter sitting there, and she was taking chunks of wood from me as I was handing it to her. I came back inside. 5 minutes later, my daughter goes out there and sends me pictures. There's a decayed deer rib cage and spine sitting outside that window with a vertebrae sitting on top of it. Is that stuff you've heard?
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think of another instance. There was one. Okay, there's one time, and this is kind of odd. This lady called me and said she had some deer dead. She found some dead deer on her property, and she wanted me to come check it out. I'm like, okay, why'd she call me the Bigfoot guy? So I went out to her property, and there were three deer carcasses. Well, they were still together. I mean, they hadn't been ate or anything. I mean, they were laying, there was a tree, and about 6 foot up the tree, there's two limbs sticking out like this, and the deer was laid across it like this, but there's three of them stacked up on top of each other. There wasn't a hole in any of them. They all had their necks broke. So I don't know if it was leaving them for her or they were just storing it for later. I don't know.
That is possible. We got a couple questions here. Soundwave says, have you guys heard wood knocks and what number of knocks from them, like 2 knocks or 3 knocks? I'll let you answer first, and then I'll answer.
Yeah, I've heard wood knocks and also rock clacks. There's another one that we get quite a bit, them slapping 2 rocks together. But I usually hear one. Actually, most of the time it's like one wood knock, and then you'll hear another wood knock somewhere else. But I'm working on something to solve that problem. I mean, William and I have been talking about it a little bit, what we got going, and I want to get into that in a little bit.
Okay. So for me, I follow what DA believes. And so when I investigate these things, I'm not only investigating them on the curiosity side, but a scientific side as well. I don't believe in wood knocks. I'm sorry, because there's not any evidence that they're actually knocking on wood, because if they were, where's the busted trees? You know, the bark would be knocked off these trees. There'd be gouges in these trees. These are massively strong creatures. I believe they're clicking the tongue. And I mean, like DA and several others, they can make a tongue pop that sounds just like a wood knock. That's where I'm at. Now, I've heard them. Yes, I've heard them all over this world. I've heard them. I just don't believe they're banging on trees.
Could be. Absolutely.
William Carl wants to know when the last time you hunted.
Me? Hunted?
No, Carl. William.
When the last time I hunted, what? Bigfoot?
Before I got cancer.
Got it.
Yeah, it was before I got cancer in 2018 was the last time I was out actually hunting, boots on the ground, and after buck season and stuff. So it hasn't been that long ago. But with me, getting back to the wood knocks and stuff, yes, I think both can be possible, because the way I was always taught growing up with Big Brother, that the 4 distinctive types could have different ways of communicating with their own kind. And the smaller ones that are in the swamps, like in the bayous and stuff, and down in the Florida Everglades, they could be using their it's just a matter of hold on a second.
Oh, he's getting a call. There we go. Okay.
Oh, well. Anyways, can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, well, I can't hear you right now. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, it basically the tree knocks and stuff that I was talking about. It's my opinion that they could do that mimic that sound in several different ways. But I've experienced more rock clacking here in the along the East Coast, the Appalachian Mountains and all that, than I have tree knocks. And I've experienced more whooping than I do anywhere else. that I've been. So, I've heard the jibber jabber talk, and I've heard an almost Native American dialect when I interacted with them when I was a young guy. But here recently, I haven't had the opportunity to get out and investigate some of the sightings around here. But I am slowly getting back to my health, and I plan on getting out there. Actually, next month, I plan on getting out with ECBRO, Daniel's group, and hopefully with David and Melissa and all them guys, and show them what I know, how to interact with them, and how to bring them in to the camps at night.
Heck yeah. Hey, Ozzy Sue, how's it going, sweetheart? I hope you're feeling better. Hey, Roger, how you doing, buddy? I'm trying to get caught up on these comments here as we're talking about it. So yeah, I mean, and I seen there was a comment earlier about them snapping trees. I've seen them snap trees. I've seen where they've snapped trees and snapped limbs. But that's kind of different than a wood knock. But I have seen it. Now I'm trying to get permission. I've got a recent report not too far from me of them taking a small tree, uprooting it, sticking it in the ground upside down. So I'm trying to get permission to go on this landowner's property to investigate this. Now, I mean, of course, the location, the name, he doesn't want anybody to know about it, which I'm very respectful when I'm doing these, investigations and I'm going out. You'll notice, like in some of my videos, I don't tell you who it is, where it's at, because that's what I was asked, and I'm very respectful of that. I get what people feel when it comes to that type of stuff, like the werewolf investigation that I'm currently doing. That location and both reporting parties want to remain anonymous, so that's why I keep it that way. And so I think that's very, very, very important as investigators that we adhere to our clients' wishes when it comes to that. Which I'm sure you both can agree with me on that.
Absolutely.
So I just lost my train of thought there for a second. Got caught up on these comments and forgot a question I was going to be asking. Hey, Jonaside, it's been a while. How you doing, buddy? So tree formations. I get a lot of tree formations out here. Like anytime I do move my game cams from time to time. And I've always noticed right outside the triggering range, my game cam, I get an X formation. What's the type of tree manipulations you have in your area?
We get X's too, which I think are if you go back to looking at Native American pictographs and petroglyphs and learning that language, which is one of the things I did for a living, for a long time, is an X means a boundary or stop here, or it's basically, don't go beyond here. So if that equates to Bigfoot knowing Native American languages or sign language or pictograph language, it means the same thing. It means we've into quite a few of them, actually. X formations. That's the most often thing I run into is X formations. And some of them I found are like huge. I mean, giant trees crossed in the middle of nowhere with the stumps up in the air, not the, the tops of the trees up in the air. So, it was done on purpose.
Yeah. For me, you're muted, Brother William, but you're back and not froze up, so that's good. I didn't know if you purposely muted yourself or not. I know it does that to you from time to time. So for me, I'm a firm believer they can see IR from the game cam. So I don't use game cams for footage because of that fact. Now, I have went out to replace SIM cards in my game cams and found them completely turned. I mean, moved from one side of the tree to the other. And when I pulled footage, you can see fingers. You can see hands that gripped it and moved it. Is that kind of something you've noticed in your neck of the woods?
I have never had to move a game cam, but we there's stuff we've been doing. We've been doing like cognitive tests with them, by stacking different rocks on stumps and stuff. And if we put game cams on them, nothing ever happens to them. If we take the game cams away, that's when they get messed with. So we one of the things we've been doing is I don't know if you remember those toys when you're a kid. There's a little stand, and it's got a stick sticking up, and then it's got different size donuts that you put on top of it that you can stack them up to make a pyramid. Well, we take two of those out in the woods, and we have one that's put together, and we leave it there, and then we take the other one apart and set it on the same stump, and we'll go back and find it put back together to look like the one next to it. Or they'll stack it up and take the red ones that we had, like they're all different colors. They'll take the red rings and take them with them, and they'll just disappear. So we started doing this a few years ago with rocks, stacking up flat rocks in different sizes on top of each other, and they would rearrange them. They would take the rocks. We had one of the a round rock, probably about as big as your hand, picked up and stabbed into the stump and split the stump with it, like an axe, but and then we did that for a couple years, and then we went back the third year, and we started finding rocks stacked on logs left for us, 500-pound rocks sitting on logs that were stacked up. And I'm like, okay, dude, I can't unstack this, but so either we were learning, or they're just messing with us, saying, okay, I stacked your rocks here, stack this one.
I get that, and I found stuff like I found a blind that they'd made behind my house that was there was a game trail between my house and it, so I don't know if it was using it to watch my plays or it was using it for hunting, or it could be both. I found almost like a small wiki up formation, kind of domed, weaved trees and stuff like that, where it's too small for even me to get into, which I think it's possibly a place for them to put a baby in while they go hunting, kind of like a nursery.
I've actually found one of those. I was going to show you some pictures if you can see it. I'm like, lost it. That's the rocks. No. Hold on.
Yep, I've seen those. Yep.
Okay, we found these teepee structures, and then here's another one that we found that I think is a nursery. I think it's something they put their babies in. But
that is very close to what I had on my property, except it didn't have the dead grass. But the shape of it and everything is exactly what I found on my property.
Yeah, it has a hole up towards the top to put the baby in, and it's closed on. This one's 14 feet around, 5 foot tall. And it's all woven together. In fact, one of the trees that are woven into this is a 3-inch fir tree. It still had the root ball on it that had been pulled out of the ground. So,
mine actually had the entry point at the ground down at the bottom. My dogs was able to fit in there. I couldn't, and that's why the feeling I'd gotten when I found this was, hey, this is a nursery. This is where they keep the babies when they go hunting.
Right.
So that is interesting, because that is so similar to what I've seen. It just didn't have the dead grass on it. That was the only difference, and the entrance was down on the ground versus up top. So that's cool. I mean, that's really cool. And I found markings in trees, almost like there was something up in that tree just kind of sitting and waiting. And I believe they do put them in trees too for safety, for the same reason. I don't know if that's something you've seen in your neck of the woods or not.
I think so. We've seen what I want to add something. There's something really interesting to this one that nest I just showed you. is this also had big trees pushed down to build a fence around it. Probably about a 10 feet from wherever the nest was, all the way completely around it, had trees pushed over to build a fence around it. So you had to jump a tree to get to that thing, which was pretty interesting, I thought. I'm looking for another photo here.
Almost like a playground.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's the I found another picture. Here's the rock that was left on a log for us.
Have you discuss your going on?
What's that?
What was that? What was that, Brother William?
I don't know.
Oh.
Well, one of the things, I think he asked if we discussed something, but I think it was what he's talking about, that project I'm working on. I don't know if you see down at the bottom, I loaded a presentation that says Hollow Point. I don't know if you can bring that up or not. I don't know if you can see it down at the bottom where the people are. Hey, you found it. There it is.
Okay.
All right. So one of the things we were talking about, we were having problems with them not being on camera because of the infrared stuff. It's something I thought about. I've been working on this for about a year. My son and I, my son's really good with electronics and computer programming and stuff like that. And we came up with this idea, and we're calling it the Holler Point Acoustic Network. And what this is we instead of, people put out recorders. Well, I had an idea of putting out 3 recorders and syncing the time on them to see if I can triangulate where the sounds come from, because if you got the time sync and the recording and the location of the microphones, you can sync them. So, I've heard stuff. By the time I got my audio recorder out, I'd never caught it and that sort of stuff like that. It happens all the time. So one of the things we decided to do is we built this acoustic network. And what it is a series of microphones that you can sit out in the woods, and they feed back to a central hub. And you can put these microphones, we're recommending 600 yards apart, and you need at least 3 of them to be able to triangulate the sound. But we built these things, but we've actually put them out 1.5 miles from each other, and they still talk to each other. So we've got these sensors we put in the woods, and right now we just have ones that we built and put inside of tackle boxes and stuff, and been testing them, and writing the code for them and all this stuff. But what they do is you put them out like game cameras, and then if there's a sound in the woods, they record it, they send the information back to the hub, and that hub can send it to your laptop, and it triangulates it and tells you exactly where that thing was standing when it made that sound. And we've been messing with this long enough that we figured out there's I'm at the let's see, field different. Trying to see what I put in here. Okay, so
field deployment.
Yeah, field deployment. So you set them out in the woods. They feed back to the hub. If you got the hub close to your camp, you can open up your laptop. We wrote a program that you can put on your laptop that links to the hub. And what happens when any of the microphones hear a sound, They report it back to the hub, and it'll flash up on your screen the GPS location of wherever this creature was that made that sound. They also record the sound. All the mics record the sound, so you've got 3 recordings of the same sound if you got 3 hubs out there. And what's really cool is we had to get a little technical with them. Is okay, they auto adjust their microphones. So if a windstorm comes up, it says, "Hey, I hear wind." So I'm not going to record wind sound. So I'm going to up my microphone gain to block out the wind. Or it's nighttime and there's a lot of crickets. We're going to up the sound level so we don't listen to crickets. And what it does, and it's really accurate. What it does is the nodes talk to satellites. They got a GPS in them. So whenever one hears a sound, it asks the other ones around it, "Did you hear that sound too?" And whenever it hears a sound, it asks the satellite the exact time to the millisecond. So if 3 of them hear the sound, they're all sync with the satellite to the millisecond of when the sound happened, and then it triangulates it. So we've figured out it'll triangulate the location of the sound within 10 feet. So this could be miles apart, and it'll give you a GPS location within 10 feet of what made that sound, where it was standing when it made the sound. It also records. And no, we did not design time travel, but it will record 5 seconds before the sound happens and 5 seconds after the sound. So the microphones are constantly listening, and they have a buffer. They buffer 5 seconds in them. So if they hear a sound, it'll go back 5 seconds and record all that information from 5 seconds before to 5 seconds after the sound. So you get the whole context of the sound up until where it happens. And then, like I said, they talk to each other. So if one hears a sound, it asks the other if it heard the same sound in the same time period. So say 4 of them heard a sound, but the time sync for the 4th one doesn't match the time sync from the other 3. So the 4th one might have heard a different sound. It'll record it and keep it, but it won't triangulate it because the 4th one wasn't within however long it takes sound to travel to hit the other 3, and they always know where they are because they update every 2 minutes their location. So each node has a microphone, GPS location. It has they have a 2-core processor, and one's always listening, and the other one packets all the information and sends it back. And then we have on your laptop program, we have when it download it to your laptop, we have 2 different sound identification things with over 2 million sounds in them. So when it hears a sound, it'll actually tell you on the screen, this is the location, this is the GPS location of the sound, this is the exact time the sound happened to the millisecond. This is the location of what made the sound, and I think it's a crow, or it's wind, or it's a lightning, or it's a person talking, or it's a car going by. It'll tell you what it is, in case you didn't hear it, and it'll tell you what you think it is. And then you can click on that sound, and it'll bring up a spectrograph and play it for you. So I think this is going to change Bigfooting for a while. So we'll be able to pick up everything in the woods. We've got them set up where they'll run for 14 days on the batteries, and each one will record 200,000 sound events. So this is, I've been working on this for about a year. Well, what happened was I asked my son. Go ahead.
Let me interrupt you real quick here, Scott. Eric, down below on the banner list is his GoFundMe link. If you could pop that link up. It's a permanent banner that can run on the screen while you all talk. That way, if anybody wants to donate to this project, which I think is a really, really feasible and a very good project, very well thought out, go to that link and support Scott and Hannah on their efforts in getting this project off the ground. I think you have $1,100 you need to come up with, if I'm correct. So, and I understand everybody's having a tough time right now. I understand that more than anybody. I mean, being on disability only, and I'm sure Scott does too. And it's if we can at least help each other out on getting some efforts done to get the answers we need, because I'm always telling everybody to question everything, and I'm a firm believer in that. So, and I think that this project that Scott has come up with is a very viable, sound project, and I think it deserves as much support as humanly possible that we could give it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can relocate it because it's covering up Scott. So that's what I'm trying to work on right now.
I'm fine. You don't need to see me. Yeah, what we're doing right now is we have built 3 of the nodes. We built the master one that stays out in the woods that records all the information, and we've got the program that we have on the laptop finished. We got all that stuff done. We've been testing it on our own for months. The ones we have is a bunch of electronics wired together and put inside a tackle box and hung on a tree, right now. So the GoFundMe right now is so we can we have already designed the circuit boards we need, and it's for us to buy the official circuit board, so we don't have just a box full of wires, to put all the electronics on, and for us to get a 3D printer so we can print the cases for them. And so what we're going to do, what this step is, what the money we're trying to raise now is we're going to build several sets of these systems, and we're going to take them to different Bigfoot research groups around the country, or send them to them, teach them how to use it, and let them. This is our beta test version. When we get the money we get now is going to build the first set of these, several sets of them, so we can get them out to Bigfoot researchers to beta test them, to say, hey, how's this working for you?
We have a couple questions. Let me get back up here real quick. Corey wants to know, and I'll let you answer first before I answer. He says, have you heard what they call samurai chatter?
I absolutely have.
So have I.
Yeah, I absolutely have. There's another photo that I put on down here where that I loaded. I got to talk about that one. This is a photo I took with my camera myself. I was face to face with 2 of them. There's an adult and a juvenile standing in the trees looking at me, and I heard samurai chatter. I smelt them. I saw them with my own eyes, and then we heard another. I heard a third one that was off in the woods, chatter. Then the loudest whistle I've ever heard in my life, and then these 2 turned and walked off into the woods towards where that whistle was.
The alpha gave that whistle out.
Yeah. So
he was literally calling the other 2 back in away from you, is what he was doing.
Yep, that's what he
was doing. It's been my interaction, Scott, with them over the years, with all of them over the years, the whole family units and stuff, that they're basically just like a pack of wolves, and I've always been a firm believer in this when you're dealing with any type of forest dwelling wildlife, or like I like to call them, forest people. you're going to deal with the older ones first, then the young ones, and then like the betas after that, and then the alphas are going to be in the back, the female alpha and the male alpha, overseeing the rest of the family unit and being their protection from back there. And the reason they put the old ones out front first is because they've already experienced a lot more than what the alpha and the betas and the young ones have. So they've probably had encounters with other wildlife, predators, humans, how to cross streams and roadways at night, power lines, you name it. Any type of route changes that need to be thought of immediately from the family unit traveling, the older ones in front already know that process. So the alpha that's in the back, the big male, is back there, you just letting them guide the family unit while he stands guard. And that's why you heard that loud scream or screech, like I like to call it. It's the alpha calling his family unit back into him.
Yep. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
We have another question here from Henry BFR. It says, "What is everyone using for recorders? My first shot's off in an hour and a half."
Oh, I use just a standard Tascam recorder, or I used to. I use our new thing now, but my Tascam that I had, if you take like one of those battery bricks that you can get to charge your phone with and plug it into a Tascam, just a regular recorder, and use that for power, I've run that for about 4 days, something like that.
When
You
I'm
use a bionic ear at all?
he asked if you use a bionic ear at all.
I have. I haven't seen much sense in them because they're kind of directional, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I do is I have like a 360 microphone. It's a microphone that has two mics, one point in each direction, and I usually I have a pole I put up on my truck with the mic way up in the air, and I hook it to the Tascam and just let it record.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay. And I've recorded, I recorded one time I heard a train whistle on it. I'm like, I'm 30 miles from the nearest train track, so it picks up pretty good.
Yeah. For me, something I've had a lot of success with, I've got 2 digital 360 recorders, but I've had a lot of success hooking one of mine up to my parabolic mic. And that's how I caught the language. That's how I caught a lot of whoops, howls, whistles, growls, moans. That's how I caught all that stuff. And I've noticed that when I hook that digital 360 recorder up to it, and it records the sounds that's picked up by the parabolic mic, it works very successfully.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. The thing with the microphone things that we're building right now is every 2 minutes they adjust their microphone. So if it starts getting windy, they turn the gain up, they turn the gain down. So it's going to pick up stuff above whatever the natural sound is. And I saw a question. Where'd that go? It was about.
Yeah, it's better. David had one here. I don't know if this is the one you're talking about.
Oh yes. Okay. Maybe you can add a feature to the program. It does do that. Actually, it already does. We have over 2 million sounds programmed into the laptop app that you put on your laptop that connects to the system. So what it does is it'll tell you when it listens to the sound itself, it says this is a plane, this is a car, This is human voice. This is unknown. This is a bird. This is whatever, and it'll tell you a percentage of what it how much it thinks. Like, I'm 70% sure this is a car driving by. I'm 70% sure that that's a plane flying over. So it already does that. Yeah.
I like that idea. I hope when it gets done, I'll have to get some money saved up and get that, because that'd be handy, not just in the cryptid investigations, but also investigate paranormal and supernatural as well. So I think this
Yeah.
would be a game changer in all three investigating fields of study.
Yeah, we think so too. And we think even for bird watchers, I mean, we have over, let's see, what was it? We have two different identification things in there. One identifies sound, and the other one identifies birds. So we thought bird watchers might like this pretty good too, because it'll show you, hey, that's a Carolina wren, and this is where it was standing when it made that sound. So
Heck yeah. We got some more questions, but first, if you guys please put your questions in caps, it's easier for me to see it so I can pull it up. Because I'm way behind on the chat right now trying to get to all these questions. So if you wouldn't mind, if you have a question, please put it in caps, make it easier for me to see. This one is based off your picture here from Soundwave. Do you think that the female is with the kid?
I kind of do. Mainly because of the footprints we found in the area. So after I took that picture, I spent 3 days there. And I went down to exactly where they were standing. They were 200 feet away from me. And we found 16-inch footprints and 9-inch footprints. So there was the juvenile and an adult. And then in the area also, we found 22-inch footprints. So I think we got mom, dad, and a baby. So where they were standing was the 16 and 9-inch. So I think that's the mom and the juvenile. Well, the juvenile was 6 foot tall. We actually shot a laser down through the trees and figured out where my camera was, where I was standing, and where its head was in the picture. And yeah, the small one was 6 foot tall.
Heck yeah. And that's something I get a lot here. Hey, Everbuilt. I get a lot of multiple different size footprints, which tells me it's a family group. And that's very, very common here on my stretch of land. So I can see that, because that's something I've experienced, not just on my land, but I've experienced it all over the world as well. So I'm a big believer that they travel in groups. Now, I did have one question myself that I just remembered. For me, I'm a firm believer they don't move out of an area in heat. Just because I found evidence all year round on my property, fresh evidence all year round on my property. And if you look on it at a scientific level, most of your mammals have hair on their body. They're still active in that area, even in the dead of heat. So I think, like, in the hottest part of the day, it's kind of like what your animals do in Africa and stuff like that. They find a cool place to lay down until it starts cooling down. Which here in Missouri, we got tons and tons and tons of caves. So I think they probably go into the caves during the hottest part of the day and then come back out when it's cooler. Is that something you've noticed in your area?
Oh, I believe so too. I mean, we don't have many caves in this area here, but we got a lot of swampland. So you see these big mud patches that are squished down, in grassy areas and stuff in the swamp, So yeah, I think they do hang out here, and if it gets hot, they just go lay down in the mud,
Yeah.
So.
Kind of like a hog does. A hog don't have sweat glands, so what does it do? It creates a holler or a wallow to cool itself off. How many times? I mean, I've seen numerous reports of these things being covered in mud. Mud being stuck to the fur and stuff. I think that is one of the ways to do it. Not only is it a natural means of an insect repellent, it's a natural way to cool your body off as well.
Yep, totally agree.
So I got your slideshow back up.
That's okay. I think that's it. That's pretty much it. It's just what we plan on doing with it in the future. Some of the stuff we're going to be working on is programming the nodes themselves with an AI, so it can listen and adjust the microphones constantly. and detect what sounds are too. So the microphones themselves will do it. That's in the future though. That's a lot more programming, a lot more stuff to go into them. Um, but what it'll also do is if it'll listen to crunches and stuff in the woods. So it'll hear footsteps and, trees breaking and leaves moving. And since it'll triangulate every sound it hears, you can follow where the Bigfoot goes. So if you're hearing something crunching, say you get a whoop or a tree knock, and it shows you where that's at, and then it follows on the map, will show you where the sound moved to. So, and this is within 10 feet. So you can go back to where it made the sound and you can see, is there damage on this tree? Like you talked about earlier, if there is or isn't, is there footprints, hair, whatever. So you'll be able to know exactly where it was. That's one of the things that I'm really excited about using this. But
we did have another
Well, I want to
question
get in here real quick. I'm going to get in here real quick and say something, if I could. I want to thank Scott for coming on and explaining his project in depth. And again, I want to put my support behind him and encourage anybody that can help him out with that GoFundMe. Please do. Whether it's $2, $5, $10, it doesn't matter. Every little bit helps. And I think we need to actually do more fundraising and working together cooperatively, instead of bickering about things and disagreeing about things, as we see so much in social media. So I'm a big believer in that we work better together than we do separate. And I just wanted to thank Eric for taking the lead today. It's been great. I've been having to deal with internet issues and equipment issues. And I want to thank the moderators, Roxanne, Urso, and everybody that's in the chat. You guys are phenomenal with your questions. And I'm going to cut out of here and let Eric end this. And Scott, I will talk to you later. Give Hannah my love. And I've got to take care of Jacob because I'm dog sitting right now. And he's obviously getting hungry. So, happy wife, happy life. And tomorrow's my wedding anniversary, by the way. So
well,
that's why I'm dog
happy
sitting.
anniversary.
So
I just had mine last week.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. that.
I took my wife to Paris, Texas.
Yeah, I saw the video. Paris, Texas. Yeah. Well, I'm not even taking my wife anywhere because right now we just don't have the funds. But there will come a time in the first of the month we'll all take her out and we'll celebrate then. But I want everybody to realize that we are an extended family here. Okay. And as such, we need to really help each other out. Especially when it comes to this research and investigating the cryptids. Okay. And I've always been a firm believer the way I grew up.
Oh, what happened?
We lost you, William.
Okay. Oh,
The supernatural. Okay. So, and I think what you're doing, and I got a phone call coming in. Unbelievable.
All right.
Hold on one second, guys.
Okay. I saw in the chat earlier, somebody asked that, does Scott have a channel link? Yes, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Squatch America. And then we also have a website, squatchamerica.com, and and you can find us. What was the other thing? Website, Squatch America. Oh, on Facebook, you can look up Squatch America too. So.
Yeah, I put that link up a little bit ago. William, you're muted, brother. We got a couple more questions to get to before we shut her down. Ursula says, do you think that they kick individuals out if the family unit were they band together in a unit or thrown together a unit to form a new family?
Well, what I think is they have kids, and when the kids get a certain age, they boot them out to live on their own, and they start another clan somewhere else. They have to find another mate, and I think that's what happens. They just live in small family groups, and as that's why we get what we call the rogues. They're probably teenage boys, and they're the most mischievous ones that we find out there. They're teenage boys in puberty, so that's why we have a lot of problems with them.
Heck yeah. We did get a 1999 sticker, but it's on Facebook, so it won't show up for some reason. So I can't. Michelle, thank you so much for that 1999 super chat. We appreciate that. Soundwave wants to know, what's your ultimate goal?
Me, is when I first got into Bigfooting, I thought, well, hey, this is going to be I'm going to prove these things exist, blah, 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 like everybody else does, And at this point, after doing this for almost 25 years, I've come to the conclusion that we're not going to convince anybody, especially the government, that they exist, And my point right now, being a cultural anthropologist, I want to know how they live. And that's one of the things we're doing with this sound stuff, to be able to pick up more evidence, because we're constantly listening, and we're 24/7. And so what we can do is, the more information we get, the more I can put together how they live, what their family structure's like, maybe even someday decipher their language.
Mm-hmm. Cool. We just got a few more. I just put in chat no more questions, because we're going to end up having to shut down, being Williams has got issues with this deal. Mm-hmm. Sasquatch Topic PA, what's the closest you've been to one during an encounter?
Well, that's the photo I took. Yeah, that was 200 feet. I was 200 feet away.
So, and then the last one's going to be from Roxanne. What is your research named again?
Okay, it's Squatch America. Yeah, we started this probably 6 years ago. It's a national Bigfoot group. We got about 100 researchers all over the country. My wife and I live full time in an RV and travel all over the United States and follow up on reports. And we have hotspots and research areas that we go to, that standing ones that we've been researching for years. We go every year to different places. So, yeah, it's Squatch America.
Heck yeah. Well, Scott, it's been a fantastic show having you on with us. And, William, I can speak for William as well. We are truly, truly grateful and thankful that you came on. You are a fountain of information. I agree with William. I love what you're doing. We need to take that next step. I know for me personally, as an investigator, I'm always trying to come up with new ways to get better evidence. So it's something I do. And like I said, I investigate cryptids, paranormal, and supernatural. And I'm constantly evolving my investigations to try to get the most out of what I can. I love what you're doing with that program. I can't wait to be able to get my hands on it myself and try it in my neck of the woods and see how good it works. But I want to test it out in all fields, not just the one. So, right, I want to see how it works in all those. So, I mean, this is awesome. I truly love what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
So, sorry for the questions, guys. William's having technical difficulties, so we're going to be shutting it down. We want you to come back on again, Scott. Hopefully next time when this internet's working, and that way we can pick back up on this and get to the questions that we missed for today.
No problem.
Everybody, it's like William and I say all the time: question everything. Don't take what we say for granted. Take with a grain of salt and do your own research. Either build upon ours or come up with your own theory. None of us are experts in this field. Exactly. There is absolutely zero experts in this field. Everything we talk about is our opinion, our theory, our hypothesis. So keep that in mind when you're doing this type of stuff. We can be wrong. We're human. We can absolutely be wrong in everything we do. And do you got any closing remarks you want to do before we shut her down?
Oh, I'm fine. Just, we really appreciate if you go to the GoFundMe and help us out with this project. And our tagline here at Squatch America is, we investigate the unexplained. We don't explain the uninvestigated.
I like it. I like it. Everybody, thank you for coming in. Mods, you guys are badass. Appreciate every single one of you guys. All you subscribers, you're badass. Michelle, once again, thank you for the super sticker that finally popped up where I can throw it up on the screen. So that's great. And as always, everybody, peace, love, and blessings. And hopefully we'll see you again soon. Catch my shows tonight, Campfire Chats with Eric and guest. And tomorrow I'll be having a special guest comment on confirmed. Bigfoot Dwarf will be live with me tomorrow on The Bizarre and the Unknown, as we're going to talk Bigfoot as well. So until later on, everybody, much love to you, and we hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Through the mist we rise, a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate, in fields of valor we elevate. As shadows loom